It is a very good evening and welcome to SlyMedia TV. Welcome to the candidate. My name is Perfect Hlongwane. I'm your host for the next 1 hour. And like we always say that we bring you candidates from various political parties to discuss issues around their manifestos, issues around their plans, and the programs that they are promising the electorate that they're going to be doing when they are elected, or if they are elected into office. And like always, I encourage you, our viewers, to follow our page, like our page, and also share so that you don't miss any programs that we bring you here on SlyMedia TV. We are doing this because we are closing nigh to 2023, to the elections, general elections that are going to be held in 2023. And we want to give you information as the electorate, so that you make a choice, an informed choice on who to vote for in the upcoming general elections. Now, before we go into the issues, or I introduce the candidate that I have tonight on the show, we are going to take a short break, and when we return, I'm going to introduce my guest and also go straight into the issues on the candidate tonight.
Big businesses do not advertise because they are big. They advertise because they want to reach potential new customers. Advertising helps you move your goods off the shelves. Brand visibility engraves your brand in the hearts and minds of your old and new customers. SlyMedia TV has a package for everyone, big or small. It's called Everyone Can Stream. Corporate events, weddings, churches or funerals, we stream it all. We take your product and event to over 326,000 followers on Facebook and 96,000 subscribers on YouTube. We cross-post to over 6 pages with a reach of over 1 million followers from as little as $100 per hour. We give you the desired global reach. Call today for a free quotation. 263-772-863-484 or 263-775-964-849 or 263-773-761-800 or email on slymediastreaming@gmail.com. SlyMedia TV, building bridges.
Rising from the ashes, our Zimbabwean celebrities have paved different paths to be the people that we look up to today. Role models, opinion shapers, and motivational figures. All of them have a story to tell. SlyMedia TV presents On the Set, a show dedicated to showing you where celebrities came from and where they aspire to be. No matter where you are, local or international, we are willing to share your story on when you rose to fame. So contact us on 0772 863 484 or 0715 015 575. And make sure your story is well known worldwide.
SlyMedia TV, building bridges.
Welcome back to the candidate. Like I said, that we bring you on this show different candidates from political parties. We always say that we deal with, or we speak to candidates from local government, parliamentary, and also presidential candidates in our national body polity, as we are drawing near to the elections in 2023. I promise that I'm going to be introducing my guest. Let me welcome Godfrey Tsenengamu. He is the Commandante of a political formation, or a political party called FEEZ. It's called Front for Economic Emancipation Zimbabwe. In Zimbabwe. That's my candidate tonight, and I want to welcome you to the program. Welcome to SlyMedia TV. Good to see you.
Thank you so much, my brother.
It's been some time now.
Yeah, indeed. It has been long.
Yeah.
But we thank God for life.
Yes. So Godfrey, let's start from the beginning. FEEZ. When was you formed as a political formation?
Yeah, okay. The Front for Economic Emancipation in Zimbabwe initially came up as a non-partisan movement we announced it on the 25th of May 2020, where we thought we could push an economic emancipation agenda of the indigenous masses from a non-partisan point of view and from as a non-partisan platform. So we tried to push issues, but later on realized that it was not going to work because everything was going back to politics. Everything was centered on the leadership challenges that we continue to face as a people. So on the 31st of August 2021, that's when we then announced it as a political party. Then we launched it officially on the 6th of November 2021, and we then held our inaugural convention on the 18th of December 2021. Sure.
And tell us the experience so far that as a new political party you have come across.
Yeah, it is really exciting that you'll be out there mingling with the people, talking to the people, getting to hear their views. You know, I was part of ZANU-PF being the ruling party, and now I'm part of the opposition. So I have feelings from both worlds. I have experience from both worlds, being in power. It's been a very good experience for me, eye-opening. But what I can say is Zimbabweans are really yearning for change, positive change. And for too long a time, they have been trying to see if they could get that change. So we are really motivated by the response that we are getting from the people. We didn't think that people will respond in the way they are doing. But the response has been very, very overwhelming, and we thank Zimbabweans for that.
Don't you miss the times that you were in ZANU-PF, you were close to authority?
Yeah, no, I was in ZANU-PF from 1999 when I joined ZANU-PF, and got expelled in 2015 for the first time, and then got readmitted in 2017, then got expelled again in 2020. I can say, no, I'm not missing being in ZANU-PF, because I found a political home where I'm free to exercise my rights, to give my views, my opinions freely, where I'm not gagged, where I'm not allowed to say certain things. So I'm in a free space. I think I got my second freedom in life after being chucked out of ZANU-PF. For me, it came as a blessing in disguise. So I thank ZANU-PF for giving me that exposure politically. But to say that I'm missing ZANU-PF as a political home, no. I'm not missing them. I'm pretty comfortable in the front for economic emancipation in Zimbabwe.
Are these insights to us to say that there was a lot of gagging in ZANU-PF? Indeed,
there was. You see, the problem with the majority of the political parties is that they would want you not to exercise your freedoms, not to think, not to see, not to everything. You have to see everything from a point of view that is done by the leadership. If you have your own views, if you have your own opinions, then you will be gagged. You see, like the other time we came out naming and shaming, and the leadership said, no, we are going to constitute a commission of inquiry, and they did nothing.
And you were sent to, you were supposed to go to Chitepo School of Ideology.
And they said no. They said no. Because for me, that was an insult. I grew up in the party, rose from being a cell member to branch level, to a district youth chairperson, to a deputy commissar at provincial level, to a youth chairman from 2015 up to 2017, from 2009 up to 2015, where I was also in charge of teaching young people party ideology. And when I was readmitted back into the party in 2017, I became the national political commissar, and my duty was to recruit, mobilize, and organize, and also to teach young people ideology. So it would be like saying a grade 7 teacher must go back to preschool. That's an insult. So I said, no, why should you say I must go to Chitepo Ideological College for naming and shaming corrupt people, people who are known by everyone to be very corrupt? So I'm not going to accept that unless I was to go to Chitepo as a lecturer. I was going to accept that, but not as a student.
Tell me something. Did you guys, when you announced that, did you have proof of the things that you were saying?
Yes, we had. Yes, we had. We didn't go there because we were seeking publicity or attention. We went there because we had tangible evidence of what these guys were doing. Tafadzo Msarara, Tagwire, and Billy Rottenberg. And we challenged them to say, if you are not in agreement with what we have said, please come out in the open and say no. But they didn't. And Matutu went on to engage Zach on the issues that we had raised, but for one reason or the other, they had to dismiss him. But I had told him that approaching Zach is not going to work. Why? Because the commission itself is captured. Because one of the key persons in Zach is a spouse or was espoused to a certain leader who was strategically positioned and a beneficiary of the shared deals that were being pushed by one of the guys whom we had mentioned. So it was not going to work to approach Zach, because we were going to report to the same people who are benefiting from those shared deals. So which is the reason why we had to go for a name and shaming initiative, because we knew that the formal procedure would not work. Yeah.
Okay, and you speak of the capture of Zach. A lot of people have been talking about capture, not only of Zach as an institution, but a lot of institutions, government institutions, and even those that are called independent institutions, or who are supposed to be independent. Looking at the institutions that we have as a country to deal with various issues, corruption included, do you have a sense or a feeling that these are captured now?
Yes, I do. Even the former PG, Hodzi, said the same. That some of our institutions are captured. Indeed, they are captured. They are just toothless barking dogs. They have no teeth to bite. If you look at Zach, how many convictions have they came up with? Nothing to show for it. Look at the Zimbabwe Human Rights Commission. What have they done about the human rights violations in the country? Nothing. Even if you look at the other commissions like Zimbabwe Gender Commission and other related commissions, including the Zimbabwe Lands Commission, they are captured. We wrote a letter to the Zimbabwe Lands Commission demanding a land audit report some 9 or 8 months ago. To this day, they have not responded.
You wrote as FEEZ?
As FEEZ, saying no. Can you give us the land audit report? Because it's a public document. Because as a party, we are pushing for the redistribution of agricultural land. So we want to know who has what and what's there for the people.
Yeah.
And they've not done anything. Why? Because they are a captured institution.
Yeah.
Any institution that is appointed by a leader cannot be independent.
Have you made any follow-ups to the letter you've written?
We have wrote to them for a second time, and there is no response. The only institution that responded to our petition was our parliament, which then advised us to follow their standing rules and orders, which we were not aware of. And we're in the process of doing that. We wrote to the president, asking him to release the land audit report. We wrote to the Minister of Agriculture. They have not responded.
Yeah.
Why? Because they know that there is a lot of debt, there are a lot of skeletons regarding the distribution of land. Because as the land audit report, the land audit was being carried out, they were already sharing the land amongst themselves. So there is nothing to declare. Because there is no land. I can tell you this today. There is no land at all. They have already shared it. So we challenged them to produce the land audit report, and they have not done so. So we are contemplating going to the courts.
And what will that help?
Yeah.
What will that help? Do you think that there is independence there?
No, it's one of those avenues that is there that we have to exploit. We'll wait to see how the courts are going to react to that and how they are going to respond to it. But we are going to use that channel to see if they can give us that land audit report, because it's a public document and people have a right to know about that national resource. Yeah.
Before we go into the ideology of the party, the plans that we have for the electorate, the work that you're doing as we are nearing 2023, I want to take you back a little bit to the time of former President Robert Mugabe. You're one of the people who were very vocal, and in one of the statements that you issued, you say, touch not the anointed one, referring to President Mnangagwa, then Vice President. What has changed between yourself that time and now? That you're contesting the same person you said is the anointed one.
Oh, okay. Nothing has changed. I've continued to maintain my stance, my principle. I believe in saying the truth to power. I believe in not sacrificing my principles on the altar of expediency. I stood up to President Mugabe because I believed that he had overstayed. I went to see him at State House where he summoned me and said, no, what's your problem? I said, no, I don't have any personal problem with you, Excellency. But I think if you don't resolve this succession matter, well, at least you can. This thing is going to end in a very bad way. He said, why? He said, no, look at how things are happening around you. Take this issue to an extraordinary Congress. And the principal director then said, no, the president is asking you, what is really your problem? Do you have any problem that he may address material-wise or something? I said, no, I'm not a mercenary. I don't do things for recognition or reward. I'm saying this because I'm concerned about what's going to happen to this man if he doesn't correct things now.
Are you saying you were offered a token to make you keep quiet?
I can't say a lot because the man is no longer around to give his own side of the story. But what I want to say is, obviously, some trinkets will be thrown to you to say, what's your issue? Can you be silent on this? Can we move along? Things like that. So I said, no, my issue is, I'm concerned about your legacy, the future of your family, the future of your investments, and even the party and Zimbabwe at large. You have to deal with succession matters now. So we had a fallout, and he checked me out. And I said, no, I'm supporting Vice President Mnangagwa. Because I thought that he had a lot of experience from the time he was in government since 1980. And because we had some engagements with him during that time, we seemed like we were on the same page. He made some of us to believe that he was the right man for the job. And we went all out to push for him. Some of us putting our heads on the block because we thought that he was going to do right, he was going to deliver. And when I discovered that no, he was going in the opposite direction, I also stood up to him and said, no. I'm a political commissar, yes. I'm a member of the Central Committee, yes. I have gotten a lot of benefits. I have a very good salary, I have a car, I have access to everything and anything that I want. But it's not about me. It's about the people that I lead, the young people, who look up to me as their commissar. Because in our family, I was the only one who was strategically positioned in the party, who could go to Mnangagwa's office any day, any time, ask for anything and get it. But my brother, my sister, my uncle, my niece, they were not
positioned the same way.
Exactly. So I said to myself, okay, what's going to happen to these people in my absence? Because I'm not going to be the commissar forever. I'm not going to be close to the authorities forever. Because we were creating a society and an environment where only those who are closer to authorities can survive. So I said, no, let's deal with corruption. We agreed to deal with corruption. Why are you not dealing with these issues? I'm not in agreement with your approach on indigenization and empowerment. I was very clear on those issues. I'm not in agreement with the way the Chinese are behaving in here. So it was out of principle. I have nothing personal against President Mnangagwa. But, well, I'm just disappointed in the way he has wasted his chance. Because for me, ndinoona senge mudhara uye anga akaisirwa bhora pa spot. And ndokubva mudenga zvake. So that's what motivated me to stand up to him.
Good. Now I want to find out from you what you would call the missed opportunities since 2017 happened.
One, he had an opportunity to unite Zimbabweans, starting from the party. He was supposed to come in and say, all the Gamma Toxis, all the G40s, everyone else come back to the party.
But they always denied the existence of these factions.
No.
You were in there.
I was in there. The factions do exist. Yeah. When I was there, the factions do exist. During the Gamma Talks, versus Jifukuto, who were there. Yeah. Factions do really exist.
What were you between Jifukuto and Gamma Talks?
I was a Chifukuto.
Okay.
I was a Chifukuto, so that people get to understand. Yeah, exactly. I was on the side of the First Lady, the then First Lady, Dr. Grace Mugabe.
Yes.
Exactly. So after the
Gamma Talks
Chifukuto era, I then had a fallout with Grace Mugabe after they wanted us to then attack the then Vice President, who is now President Mnangagwa. And I said, why? We have not finalized the issues surrounding Mai Mujuru, and now we are saying there is Gamma Talks too. What's this all about?
But you had attacked Mai Mujuru already?
Yes, it was because we had been made to believe by the former president that she was guilty of certain allegations that she was being accused of. Because in August 2014, we had an interaction with the President Mugabe at State House, where he told us all sorts of issues about what his ministers were doing, what Mai Mujuru was doing. So we believed him and confronted Mai Mujuru on his behalf. Unfortunately, we had no evidence about it, but because we were told, and you see, we were very young. I'm not sure if the old men just took advantage of the innocence as young people, but we believed him and executed that thing on his behalf. So factions have always been there, and I'm not sure now because I'm no longer in there. I'm no longer in there. But G40 was there. So President Mnangagwa had an opportunity to bring back all the people because it was an intended contestation for power. It was not. It should not have been treated like a crime. People should not have been punished for being loyal to President Mugabe. Because Iwoga Mnangagwa also wants people to be loyal to him. So why should people who were loyal to the former president be persecuted? So he missed that opportunity to unite his party. Secondly, he missed an opportunity to build national consensus by bringing on board the then MDC alliance, which was led by Advocate Nelson Chamisa, by trying to accommodate them to be part of the governance system. Why I'm saying so? Because in 2018, President Mnangagwa got 2.4 and Advocate Chamisa got 2.1. You cannot have a whole term having 2.1 million people going against you. There is no way you can succeed. So this winner-takes-all approach does not work. So he had an opportunity to bring these guys on board. I talked to him about these issues. I even engaged Advocate Nelson Chamisa. He's a brother. We talk. And I could highlight these issues to him to say, no, guys, why can't we find each other and try to find a way forward? He also had an opportunity to deal with corruption. He also had an opportunity to deal with tribalism that had taken center stage in ZANU-PF. Because during the G40 era, remember there was this issue about Mazezura and Kongarebo. And some of us stood against that and said, no, we can't have that. And unfortunately now, it seems like there is reverse tribalism, where the old man seems to be on a drive to punish the Zezurus for whatever that he thinks the leadership that came before him sidelined the Karangas in a way. So it seems like...
How is that? How are the Zezurus being punished?
No, I'm not saying this today. I even said it to him. At one point, I said, no, look at your leadership structure in ZANU-PF, in the Politburo. You are from Midlands.
Yes.
We can say your vice president...
Mash East.
Your vice president from Mad South. National chair is said to be from Manicaland, but those from Manicaland say she comes from Mashingo. That's from.
But we know she comes from Nikaland.
That's according to Nikaland people. They say she comes from Mashingo. And I said, no, look, the sector for admin comes from Matabele North. The commissar then was Rugeje.
Yes. Mashingo.
From Mashingo. Security was Matuke, Mashingo. Information and publicity was who was this one? Was also from transport and warfare, July Moyo, from Midlands. Legal affairs, Paul Mangwana from Mashingo. Production and labor, Josiah Ungwe from Mashingo. The youth affairs then was to Garepi from Mashingo. Deputy youth affairs was Matutu, yes, from Midlands. We had the likes of SB Moyo in that Politburo. We had the likes of Mzenda in that Politburo. We had the likes of Mbengegwi in external relations from Midlands. So I say to him, why are you doing this? Why can't there be provincial and regional balance in your leadership? You cannot punish us for what President Mugabe did because we're not part of we're not part of his decision-making body, and you were there. So they had almost 2 provinces had almost 12 critical positions in the Politburo out of around 25 or so. So the remaining 8 provinces were sharing the remaining 10 or 12 positions. And they said, no, this is not right. You have to deal with this with these issues. And he said, no, I was not aware of this. I said, no, you have to look at this. So he also missed that opportunity to deal with the tribal indifferences that continue to exist in our country. He also missed an opportunity to empower the generality of the Zimbabweans when he scrapped the Indigenization and Empowerment Act totally, giving exclusive ownership of our resources to foreigners. We have continued to be beggars in our own country. We don't control our minerals. We don't have. So those are some of the opportunities that he also missed as he came in 2017.
Okay, I'm going to be reading comments from our viewers, and as we go into discussing the issue of the manifesto and your plans as we are going into 2023. Let me start by this one from Gabriel Hondo. Gabriel Hondo says that I respect you for standing for what's right and brave enough to speak the truth. The rest, like mfeso wako uye wakaita conference nae, bow down to the powers that be, and apa vari kupiwa nzungu kurwadzisa ruzhinji. If only you could approach Chamisa and find a consensus, you will go very far, my guy, because I can see a lot of potential in you, and all the best in your endeavors. That's from Gabriel Hondo. And the suggestion there is obviously from one of the questions that I was going to be asking you, to say, what's the need of forming another political party? You just told us that in the previous elections, Chamisa got 2.1.
Yeah.
Those are the figures that are in the public. Why not rally behind that? Why not rally behind that mass and become a formidable power?
Oh, okay. I have no challenges with my brother, Advocate Nelson Chamisa. We're on talking terms. We have always been working together. Even when I was in ZANU-PF, we could meet over drinks and discuss these issues as young
brothers,
people. Which is the reason why I found it not difficult for me to go and make a solidarity appearance at Zimbabwe grounds. Yeah, because he's a brother. Yeah, but politically, I'm yet to understand the ideology of their new political formation. They have not yet said anything about that, because I am a socialist. I don't believe in capitalism. I don't believe in neoliberalism. So I'm comfortable working with socialists and like-minded like-minded people.
Yeah.
I don't want to be seen to work to remove ZANU-PF and replace ZANU-PF with a similar outfit, only changing party names and faces of individuals, and then continue with the same political systems and economic systems that ZANU-PF was using. I don't agree with ZANU-PF, not just because I don't want to agree with them. I don't agree with them because of who they have become. ZANU-PF has become a pale shadow of its former self. It's no longer a socialist party. They are pushing neoliberal policies. The leadership itself is capitalist. So we as the Front for Economic Emancipation in Zimbabwe are free to work together with people who share the same ideology, the same ideals, the same values with us. Because we have a society that we seek to create after dislodging ZANU-PF. So we are not here because we are just a conspiracy to grab power and continue to practice that which ZANU-PF was doing. No. We seek to radically transform our political systems, our social systems, and our economic systems. So if Advocate Nelson Chamisa is for that, then fair and fine. We'll see as time goes on. Because one thing that I can say today is, we will be lying to ourselves. I'm one guy who enjoys saying out the truth, no matter how painful it is. ZANU was around since 1963.
Indeed.
And in 2018, they got 2.4 million votes, according to ZEC. From 1963 to this day. That's the vote, the number of votes that they got. The MDC Alliance then, from 99 up to 2018, got 2.1. So FEEZ, having been formed last year, in 2021, it will be a miracle to say we are going to have 2.5 million votes. We'll be lying to ourselves. Our target, as we are moving out, is to have 1 million members by 2023. That's a practical target through our structures. And we are laying our ground, we are mobilizing people, they are getting into our structures. Remember, I was in ZANU-PF as a political commissar. I know ZANU-PF's strength. It's in their structures.
And the tricks, you know the tricks.
I know the tricks. So, we are working flat out to make sure that we get 1 million members by 2023, which must translate to 1 million votes. So, if I'm going to be a presidential candidate in 2023, it means I won't be able to garner more votes than that ZANU-PF got in 2018, and that which Advocate Chamisa under the MDC Alliance got in 2018. So the only way is for us to work together with like-minded organizations. So a number of parties have been coming forward to say, can we work together? Say, okay, fine. Here are our 12 cardinal pillars as the Front for Economic Emancipation in Zimbabwe. We cannot negotiate on these 12 cardinal pillars. Do you agree to this? Before we go into bed with you, do you agree to these pillars? That talks of Pan-Africanism, that talks about the accepting our historical background, our Chimurenga experiences and everything, nationalization of land, nationalization of minerals. Do you agree to that? If you don't agree, then we can't get into bed.
And since you say that there are quite a number of political parties that have approached and said, let's call us together. From the pillars, the 12 pillars that you're talking about, what has been the response? Have there been any political parties that have agreed to say yes?
No, they have come. We have provided them with our non-negotiable pillars, and the majority of them, they said, no, we'll come back to you. And we have not seen them coming back, because we don't want to be just part of an arrangement that seeks to replace a bad system with an equally bad system. We must agree on what's supposed to happen after we have dislodged ZANU. Because we don't want to see ourselves in a situation where, after having wasted our effort and energy fighting ZANU, then we start fighting against ourselves. So let's agree on what's going to happen and how we are going to do all this. So if we get to 2023 without an agreement with any political party, the party will then have to decide on how we are going to proceed. But one thing that I can tell you is, if we are going to field a presidential candidate, who may not be me, because being the leader of the party doesn't directly mean that I'm going to be the presidential candidate at the elections. The party can decide otherwise. And I've said to the guys, look around. Don't restrict yourself to me. Look around and say who has the potential to lead, and be our candidate and represent us. So we are in the process of doing that. So if we get to 2023 without any solid agreements, maybe to a certain period, not like to 2023, maybe before the September, October, before we get any solid arrangements, then we may look at the possibility of fielding a presidential candidate. But what that means is there is not going to be an outright winner in 2023. Because we are not going to garner not less than 20% of the vote. We may not get 50%, but we will not garner not less than 20% of the vote, according to our targets and how we are mobilizing the ground. And these are the figures, not just on paper, where we'll ask our partner to say, okay, fine, let's go to Tsenengamu. These are our members. Make a head count. Let's go to Mount Dawe. Let's go to Rushinga. Yeah,
let me bring you because we have seen the kind of politics in this country, where political parties, when they call for rallies, there are multitudes of people there. But when it then goes to the ballot, you find that only 3 people would have voted for that political party. Yet yesterday they had a rally with multitudes. How do you think that the people that you're calling your members are going to translate that into votes?
Members are different from sympathizers and supporters. Members are owners of the party. They are the leaders of the party. So when someone takes up a leadership position, they are required to be a registered voter. And there is no way a leader can vote against his or her own party. And this is ZANU-PF's, the strength that ZANU-PF has.
But I can give you an example, actually, from the previous by-elections. That in Harare Central, for instance, we know, because ZANU-PF is a party that has got structures. For instance, you're in ZANU-PF and you know from cell level, there is probably 120, is it? Seats.
No, cell has got 50 members.
50 members.
And 21 position holders.
Yes, district. And we find that the numbers that were reflected on the ballot versus the numbers of people who hold positions was not tallying.
No, it is because ZANU-PF is fooling itself. They don't have, like in Harare, mostly in urban areas, they don't have legitimate structures or genuine structures. What they do is they go to a household and say, we are writing down names of cell members. So because people are afraid of being victimized, they say, oh no, yes, this is our party, please register us. And they will do that to make sure that they have enough cells to make a branch, and enough branches to make up a district, and enough districts to make up a DCC and a province of fake membership in urban areas, mostly. So people do not get into ZANU-PF structures because they believe in that party. It is because, one, they are afraid of being victimized, or they are afraid of losing what they term benefits, like being chucked out of bus ranks, being chucked out of market stores, being chucked out of illegal housing settlements. So they will join in those structures to make sure that they are protected. So when you find someone who then comes to join a structure of an opposition party where there are no benefits, where they know very well that we stand a chance of being victimized, then you have no reason to doubt the authenticity of support and membership of that person. So we are not forcing anyone into our structures. People are coming voluntarily to say, how can I be part of the Green Revolution? So we are saying, as we are rolling out our structures, plus or minus 1 million members by 2020, that's our target. So we are not going to be holding rallies, because you don't win election by rallies. You must have an intimate relationship with the voter. Talk to him or her one-on-one. Go to where they work, their fields, their marketplaces, their places of residence, engage them. Have them contribute and have this general discussion. And at the end of the day, they will say to you, oh, okay, now I understand. I want to be part of this movement. And you say, okay, fine. Are you comfortable being a leader? Say, oh, yes, I'm comfortable. So this is how we are going about it. So we only have rallies as a way of just maybe addressing part of our membership, but not because we think that rallies are a true reflection of the votes that we are going to get. No. Elliot Manika had the same problem in 2008. Unfortunately, he's not around. May his soul rest in peace. Where they would bus people who had no IDs, nerera dzisina zvitupa vanhu vasina kuregister kuvhota vese vangonzi uyai baba mugabe vari kuuya mashops ovharwa vanhu vodini, and people are buzzed to a rally that is supposed to be a constituent rally ends up being a provincial rally where everyone from every corner is buzzed to that chapel, and you will be fooling yourselves. So we believe in not lying to ourselves. We have to say to ourselves, okay, fine, we are in Mount Darwin South. We have 5,000 members. ZANU-PF got 15,000 for last time. What do we do to get 16,000 members? We start working from there. Than to bus people from Guruve, Mzarabani, Mbire, and Shava and bring them to Mount Darwin and make that impression that you have a lot of following. It doesn't work like that.
Okay. Obviously, I wanted also to ask you about, because you said that you are a socialist yourself, that I want to believe that that's the ideology of the party. It's a socialist party. Now, someone here is asking you that what is your agenda?
Our agenda basically is, the name suggests, that the Front for Economic Emancipation in Zimbabwe. We are out here as a movement to push for the genuine economic emancipation of the indigenous masses of Zimbabwe. We are not talking of Zimbabweans. We are talking of the indigenous masses in Zimbabwe. That includes all Africans who are in Zimbabwe. Because as a party, we believe that we are one people as Africans. I will give you an example. We came from Guru Uswa in Tanganyika, and our forefathers came into Mozambique, stayed there for some time, and our grandparents migrated from Mozambique into Zimbabwe. Some came from South Africa into Zimbabwe. Some came from where they came from in Africa to be in this land called Zimbabwe. So we don't segregate against fellow Africans. We believe when they are in Zimbabwe, they are at home. So we are pushing for the genuine economic emancipation of Africans in Zimbabwe. We want Africans to take ownership of their economic resources. We want communities to benefit from their gold, from their platinum, from their diamond, from their lithium, from their chrome, oil and gas. Unlike the current situation where a few individuals are taking everything for themselves, whether local or foreign. They are taking everything for themselves. They are filthy rich, leaving our communities poor and begging. So this is one of the chief aims of the movement. We are also out here to confront and eradicate corruption and looting in Zimbabwe, because it is one of the problems that we have faced for too long a time, and it is one of the reasons why we are in this mess, in this political mess that we find ourselves in. So we are also out here to make sure that we deal decisively with corruption and looting and other related ills.
Yeah.
We are also out here
normally politicians and candidates will come here and say, we are going to deal decisively with corruption. We are going to deal decisively with the economic rot in the country and all those things, without really giving us tangibles on how you are going to be doing that as a political formation, as a political movement. And I always say to my guests here, we need those tangibles that, for instance, if you're saying you're going to be dealing with corruption, are we going to see people being arrested regardless of positions?
Okay, maybe to start with,
yeah,
I was checked out of ZANU-PF for naming and shaming corrupt people. I said no. Besides that, I'm on the table. I'm eating, I'm feasting, but I cannot ignore these issues. We came out and took corrupt officials who were giving us salaries in ZANU-PF, who had bought cars that we were driving in ZANU-PF, who were giving us thousands of liters of fuel coupons while in ZANU-PF. We stood up to them as a matter of principle, not looking at what we were going to lose. So what would stop me from confronting anyone? If I could confront my paymasters, if I could say, fine, I don't have any problems with losing any benefits that I'm getting in ZANU-PF, but we have to deal with these issues. And to drive the point home, we already registered an organization in the name of the Zimbabwe Anti-Corruption Citizens Task Force. We have notified the police, we have notified the Special Anti-Corruption Unit, we have notified the Zimbabwe Anti-Corruption Commission, and all related organizations that as citizens we have came up with this initiative to fight corruption, because we are not going to wait for the time when we'll be elected into office to fight corruption. ZANU was formed in 1963. They got into power in 1980. About 17 years later, MDC was formed in 1999. It has crumbled without getting into power. So if we are to postpone actioning on certain issues till such a time when we get into power, what if it's going to take forever for us to get into power? So we are not here to blackmail voters to say, muchajga rifa or muchajga uchine mukaka kana tapinda power. No. We are out here to fight for equal opportunities now, which is why we also formed and registered the National Affirmative Action Assembly of Zimbabwe as a grassroots movement of the indigenous people to push the economic emancipation agenda from a non-partisan point of view. While its FEEZ as a political party deals with the political aspect of the empowerment issues, because at the end of the day, it all goes back to politics. It all goes back to leadership. So we are not going to wait until such a time when we are voted into office. We are starting like now. And we are not doing it because we want to be voted into office. We are doing it because we know that it is the rightful thing to do. So this is it. So besides the economic emancipation agenda, besides pushing for against corruption and eradication of corruption, we want to establish a socialist society where there is no exploitation of one man by another, where there is equality, equal access to opportunities and resources. What does it benefit you, my brother, to be a billionaire when the next person is dying because they don't have $1 to buy their next meal? What does it help you? So we want to establish a society driven by compassion, by love, genuine love for the next person. Exactly.
Okay, let's read some more comments here. Matezula Wemu Baiberi says that this guy is what Zimbabwe needs now. He must join CCC. Gabriel Gondo again, negotiation should be your 13th pillar from the 12th that you spoke about. You cannot just enforce your code on everything as you are defeating the whole point of democracy. You need to really think about it, because that's why the other parties haven't responded to your proposal. We need your kind of energy if we are ever to conquer ZANU-PF. Gift Mangwende Svanda. There is nothing like a perfect lunch, my brother. For now, we need a transitional president who will bring transitional justice and democracy so that the best lead. That is the role Chamisa will play. SA had Mandela. If he did not make a deliberate effort to establish a democratic society, ANC would have been another ZANU-PF. You will contest freely only after a transitional period. If you expect you will have a perfect lunch with the best president, it will take forever. Then the last one, John Chisanu, says that let's unite for the purpose of removing ZANU-PF, those with vision like Tsena's. Big up. Those are some of the comments from our viewers.
No, yeah, we don't have any challenges with working together, like I said, with progressive movements.
Yeah.
Obviously, we have said these are our pillars. We are open to discussions and say, fine, we may not be agreeing wholly on this pillar, but I think we can do so much.
Yeah. Then
we also consider that and also, okay, fine. So if we are going to address this issue in such a manner, we agreed. Let's move to the next one. How are we going to address this one? Then we agree. But if there is no agreement on the majority of what we think are our pillars of what is Zimbabwe that we seek to establish, then there may not be any point to work together with anyone, because still we'll be bringing into power another side of ZANU-PF. So yeah, I know many people would want us to work with CCC. Yes. I have no problems with working with CCC. We are open to discuss with them and hear what they have to say yeah, over everything. Because we are not selfish.
Yeah.
We are not selfish. We are open to negotiation.
Godfrey, I want to find out what is really the problem with us as a country, as a people. The last election, we had, over 20, 23, thereabouts, political parties contesting for presidency. Yeah. But we have examples in Africa, in the region. We have Kenya, for example. We have seen political parties coming together as a united force. We go to Malawi, we know the Rainbow Coalition, all those things. Why are we not copying that as Zimbabweans and say, instead of having these small political parties that will take 2%, 3%, 1% of the vote, we coalesce around one and contest?
Yeah, I think the problem from my point of view is that some of our comrades have a big brother mentality, yeah, where they look at other parties either as small and extensions of ZANU-PF. They will say, no, you are a project, you are so and so. So this labeling doesn't work. So at the end of the day, these smaller parties will say, okay, fine, we are small, like you have said, we are insignificant, like you have said, so you can go it alone. And then we'll do it our way. What's important is for leaders to realize that there is always a give and take. You cannot have everything for yourself. Like I've said, yes, we have these pillars, yeah, but we are open to some negotiations and some compromise of some sort, and say, okay, fine, how do we deal with this? But we want to achieve it. How are we going to achieve it? So I don't see any Zimbabwean being against that. But what I've also noted, like when I was in ZANU-PF, when we were looking at the opposition, you'd have other parties that will say, okay, Harare is our stronghold. So no other party is going to have a candidate in Harare. Go in the rural areas. Okay. So like I said, I'm mobilizing, I'm targeting 1 million voters, members by 2023, who are scattered all over. Yeah. But that 1 million is going to make a difference on the presidential candidate. But you are not ready to give us something. You want us also to go out there and fight for ourselves. We're always giving you this chunk. No, it doesn't work like that. So it's a give and take. They have to appreciate that.
Yeah.
In the same way that we have also said we are not going to field wherever you are fielding. They must also accept that they can't have it their way every time. It doesn't work like that. So like I have said, FEEZ under my leadership is open to talk to anyone. But well, no party started big.
Yeah.
Every party started small. Which is why I've said we accept that we are not yet as big as ZANU-PF, we are not yet as big as the then MDC Alliance, which I now believe is the Triple C now. But we are coming in as the game changers. We are coming in as a third force, which is why I've said openly that we may not garner the 5 million that they are allowing themselves that they will get either ZANU-PF or MDC because it's not practical. Our target is 1 million. It's practical and achievable. Then we'll take that 1 million, which can be verified on the ground, head count, one by one, from one area to the other, and come to the negotiating table with any leader or any movement who say they are ready to work with FEEZ on 2023.
Let's deal with maybe 3 issues before we close. The first one is I want to know the position of FEEZ with regards to sanctions. We have heard ZANU-PF, for instance, say that we cannot do what we're supposed to do because of the sanctions.
Yeah, sanctions are there.
Yeah.
Sanctions are there that were imposed in around 2001, the Zimbabwe Democracy and Economic Recovery Act. If you read it, you would understand how Americans have been manipulating organizations like the IMF, World Bank, and other multilateral financial institutions. It's clear in the Zidera document. Then we have those sanctions that target certain key institutions of the state. Then we also have measures put in place against certain individuals. We are not concerned about measures targeting individuals. We are concerned about those that are targeting institutions of the state. Because obviously they will affect the generality of the people. But out of 100% of the problem that we face, I would say maybe 30% could be linked to sanctions. But 70% are because of corruption, are because of misgovernance, misplaced priorities, looting and thievery by the current leadership. That's where our problems are coming from. We don't have control in terms of removal of sanctions, but we have control.
You can add a voice towards that, right? As a movement, as a political party.
No, our position is very clear on sanctions. But the Americans are not going to remove sanctions because Tsenengamu has stood on top of a roof and said, no, remove sanctions. Because there are conditions for the removal of those sanctions. And the leadership knows what the Americans want. I don't submit to America. I'm not one guy. I don't submit to America. I don't submit to China. I'm an African. I believe in African solutions to African problems. So I'm surprised that our leadership continues to want to beg Americans. For what? We have all the resources that we want. We have the manpower that we want, skills that we want. A very good climate. Why should we continue to beg Americans? So for me, it's because we continue to have the challenge because the leadership is bankrupt in terms of ideas on how to manage issues. Look at how Russia has managed to circumvent sanctions. Their currency has not collapsed. We have diamond, we have gold, we have platinum, we have lithium, we have chrome, we have discovered oil and gas, we have everything that we can think of. But we remain poor, not because of sanctions, but because of thieves in power.
Let's now speak on the issue of human rights in the country, the situation on human rights. We know that political parties, especially opposition political parties, have been talking about or complaining that as we are drawing close to elections, the field is not level. The play field is not level. A lot of issues that arise during that. Do you think that as we are going into 2023 now, that is going to change? They've been calling electoral reforms.
No, nothing is going to change. ZANU-PF is not going to reform itself out of power. It's not going to happen. It's not. So expecting that there are going to be reforms, it's a sheer waste of time.
So we play the game however it is.
We have to beat ZANU-PF in its own game. We have, and it can be done.
Okay.
ZANU-PF relies so much on victimization, on violence and everything. We must be able to stand up to them and say, no, stop. They must know that there are consequences to everything that they are going to do. We're not going to be...
But is not that recipe for violence?
What recipe for violence?
Because
are you suggesting that if they are going to beat us on this cheek, then we have to turn the other cheek? Are we supposed to be doing that? No, we are not. We have a right to defend ourselves. And I've said this to ZANU-PF comrades. Say, no, comrades, we are a peace-loving party. We have been in ZANU-PF. We know how these things are done. There is no training for anyone who joins ZANU-PF who is trained martial arts or anything so that you can move around beating people. You too can be beaten nice, and you cannot victimize people because they belong to a certain political party. Let's coexist. So we know how they do these things. And we are here to say, no, we are going to put a stop to that. And we are ready for ZANU-PF. Because expecting ZEC in its current form to implement the reforms, it's a waste of...
So do you agree that the 2023 election is already disputed? Because this is not the first time I'm hearing complaints about ZEC.
But it must be done in such a way that it must be ZANU-PF that must complain after elections. Why should we be the ones to complain? It must be ZANU-PF that must complain after 2023.
Okay.
They must be the ones who are saying we have been rigged. Why should we continue to say ZANU-PF has rigged us? Why?
Let's wrap up now, Godfrey, but we will do that by reading some more comments, right? Okay. Efrimoto Chitsiba Arikuti, I support his points. We must unite and be part of the citizens. He is talking sense though. Then Mfaro Marecha. Tsenes is good. Let's unite against our common enemy. Then Debim Tondo says, Godfrey, join CCC. Stop wasting time. Unite to remove ZANU-PF. Kudzai Muchemei, good job down with corruption and stand firm. Ipa Potsenas, we support you. Then the last one is Chafuka Obet. Obet says, Tsenas, your vision is better than of that of Monzora. Just work with CCC and be a formidable. You know, all the comments that we have read, Godfrey, everyone is pointing you to CCC. I don't know why, and I don't know why people want you to go there. Are you going to consider doing that?
No, that decision for the party to make. Okay. Not mine as an individual, because it's not a one party, a one-man band. Yeah. We have a leadership
one center
structure
of power.
Exactly. Yeah, people have to decide on what's supposed to happen. But what I don't think is right is for people to say, stop wasting time. Are you telling me that mobilizing 1 million members by 2023 is wasting time?
But this is what you want. Maybe it won't happen.
No, I'm saying what we are already doing and looking at the response and the achievements that we've made so far.
Yeah,
it's achievable. It's so much achievable, which is why I have not said we're going to garner 5 million votes or 6 million votes, because it's not practical. I want Zimbabweans to then say after 2023, Godfrey, you lied to us. And I want to challenge anyone whom we are going to work with in a coalition or some electoral pact to say, let's go on the ground and verify our strength so that you understand that we are not a briefcase party. We are a formidable force on the ground. Yes, we admit that we have just started. We are not yet that big, but we cannot be.
Who is funding you?
We cannot be ignored.
Who is funding you?
We are funding ourselves. We have said, no, we are not going to be taking funding from some dubious sources, because they would end up wanting to divert us from our agenda and wanting to hijack our program and say, you can't say this, you can't do this. Because like now we are pushing that, let's do away with individual ownership of mineral resources. And obviously those who have taken over all the mines in Zimbabwe are not happy about that.
You want to nationalize the mines?
Why not? These are national resources.
We have come to the close of the show. And let me say thank you so much for those that were with us throughout this discussion. And like I always say, that we bring them, candidates on this show. It is the candidate, and we are going closer and closer to 2023, where we think that sometime probably we're going to be able to have a presidential candidate where we have all those that are contesting to say their issues out, their plans, their manifestos and everything, so that you, the electorate, you, the people, have the choice and are informed insofar as who to vote for come 2023. Godfrey, it was an honor to have you on the show, and thank you so much for coming. We meet again in other shows. We will continue to call you on the show and other, if you're going to be fielding candidates in the parliamentary elections, we're going to be calling them.
Obviously, for councillors who are clear, for MPs who are clear that we're going to field candidates.
Across the country.
Party will just decide on the presidential candidate, on who is going to be our candidate. So we'll obviously be out there launching our manifesto, mobilizing, doing everything. Thank you so much for the opportunity. Thank you, viewers. Thank you, Zimbabwe, for the support.
We meet again on other shows. My name is Perfect Hlongwane. Have a good evening.
Big businesses do not advertise because they are big. They advertise because they want to reach potential new customers. Advertising helps you move your goods off the shelves. Brand visibility engraves your brand in the hearts and minds of your old and new customers. SlyMedia TV has a package for everyone, big or small. It's called Everyone Can Stream. Corporate events, weddings, churches or funerals, we stream it all. We take your product and event to over 326,000 followers on Facebook and 96,000 subscribers on YouTube. We cross-post to over 6 pages with a reach of over 1 million followers from as little as $100 per hour. We give you the desired global reach. Call today for a free quotation. 263-772-863-484 or 263-775-964-849 or 263-773-761-800 or email on slymediastreaming@gmail.com. SlyMedia TV, building bridges.